is 67 years since India attained independence. 67 years is not such a long time. But see how far we have come. From Mohandas Gandhi to Rahul Gandhi. From Dr. Rajendra Prasad to Lalu Prasad. There was a time when our leaders were some of the greatest human beings who walked on this planet. Most of them belong to the Indian National Congress. Today when I say Congress, you think of corruption. If I say politician, you think of crooks. And if you think of fighting for rights, you think of politicians throwing chappals in the parliament. How far have we come? Not very long back, there was a doubt about the education minister, whether she was fit to occupy that position. Now, I believe the lady is smart and that she can deliver, but at the time of independence, when they were going to appoint the first education minister, they could not afford to take such a risk. The person who was to occupy that chair had to be in a galaxy of shining stars. He had to be the North Star. Such a person was found. His name was Feroz Bhatt, a great Indian revolutionary freedom fighter. Mahatma Gandhi called him the emperor of learning. He said this man is of the caliber of Plato, Aristotle and Pythagoras. When he became the education minister, he started the IITs, the University Grants Commission, the CSIR, the Indian Institute of Sciences. He started the Kala Sahitya Academy for Culture and Arts. Many of you might be wondering who this man is, how such a benefactor for this country is unknown. But that's because his name was changed soon after he was born. He was called Abul Kalam Muhyiddin. Much later in his life, simply they used to call him Maulana, which means a learned man. When you say Maulana, it means this man. He himself went by the pen name Azad. He said, I am free. I am free from the British. I am free from narrow religious prejudices. Maulana Azad was born in one of the holiest of cities, Mecca, not in India. As a child, he was a prodigy. Very soon, by the age of 12, he started debating societies. He started writing journals. By the time of 16 years, he had completed his education, at least the formal kind of education. He had learned multiple languages like Persian, Urdu and Arabic, and he was a great mathematician. And he was teaching people double his age at the age of 16. They came back to India in Calcutta. His father had left at the time of the Sepoy Mutiny. He came back to India, and Abul Kalam was all the time in his studies and in the Quran and at one point he rejected Islam. He said that it doesn't make sense to me, and he left it. He was a free spirit. He followed his mind. Much later in life, not much later, a little later, he came back to Islam and he embraced it wholeheartedly, and he said, now I understand it. He in fact translated the Quran from Arabic to Urdu in 6 volumes. It is one of the greatest legacies left by this man, who also wrote India Gets Freedom, a book which talks about the Indian freedom movement. Abul Kalam or Maulana Azad was not involved in the Indian freedom fight till 1905. At that time, the British tried to divide India into East Bengal and West Bengal on the basis of religion. Hindus to the west, Muslims to the east. And the strange thing was, most of the Muslims felt it was justified. They felt that the Hindus were dominating them, and so they wanted it. But this man, much to the surprise of the Hindus, took their side, and he said, India must be united. And he started fighting for Swaraj. In fact, the way he went about it was very strange. All his life he had spent in learning, in writing and all that. And he started a magazine called the Al-Hilal. And in that magazine, he started writing about the Quran, but he brought in politics into it. And people would ask, what are you trying to do? You're mixing religion and politics. And Abdul Kalam, he said, both are part of life. Can you say that I only want the arches, but I don't want the building? And thus continued to write. At one point, he was considered one of the most dangerous men in India. He was jailed for 11 years, and the British said it would be very unwise to release this dangerous man. All he was doing was writing. He was the youngest president of the Indian Congress National Party, and he was there for a very long time. He fought for Hindu-Muslim unity, and at one point he made a speech and he said, if today you tell me to choose between Swaraj or Hindu-Muslim unity, I will choose Hindu-Muslim unity. Because loss of Swaraj is loss to this country, but loss of this unity is a loss to the whole world. So both sides would wonder where exactly he stood. The fact is, this man stood for what he felt was right. At the time of his death, there was hardly anything found in his belongings, just some khadi clothes and some rare books which today belong to the country. Maulana Azad was given the Bharat Ratna while he was alive. He rejected it. He said, I was once on the selection committee, I will not take it. At his death, they gave it to him. Such a great person is one of our benefactors. Today, as we celebrate Independence Day, I would like to remember this great Bharat Ratna, this emperor of learning, and pay tribute to him. Jai.